Hello, hello, and welcome back to our podcast, Flower Farming in New Zealand, where we dig into the details of growing beautiful foliage and flowers here in Aotearoa. I'm your host, Jo Robinson. I've been a flower farmer for over 20 years, and I'm passionate about the flower industry and helping others learn. Do join us as we talk all things flowers to encourage the growing, buying, selling, and the use of local blooms. This episode, I'm delighted to be able to talk with Lissie from Fresh Cut Flower Wholesalers. Welcome, Lissie, to the Flower Farming in New Zealand podcast.
Thanks, Jo, for having me.
You're very welcome. So, Lissie, can you introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, and tell us a bit about Fresh Cut Flower Wholesalers?
It's a mouthful, isn't it, Jo?
It is. Let's call them Fresh Cut, shall we?
Sounds great. So my name is Lissie, and I'm the supply manager for Fresh Cut. I'm a fully qualified florist and have been in the industry for over 5 years. I started as a junior, moving up to managing a retail store, and then shifted across into wholesale. My main speciality is traditional garden roses, so the beautiful full-cupped scented roses. Fresh Cut, we really focus on a streamlined wholesale flower approach. We have multi-channels for that. We are passionate about our growers, our customers, and supporting the continual production of flowers. Interestingly enough, right now our team is full of experienced florists, so having all that knowledge makes us just that little bit more unique and gives us that little bit of extra knowledge.
Really does, doesn't it? Because you've not just got the knowledge to know what to buy, but how to sell it to the florists as well.
And a really good understanding of the industry in New Zealand and what's in season and what's really popular and trends. And we've certainly seen some trends come and go.
Okay, we'll get on to trends in a minute. But do tell us, how did the business get started and who do you mainly supply? Retail florists or event organisers? Who's your main customer for selling?
So Fresh Cut Flowers was originally started in 1992 by Ron and John, which were brothers. We're now in our third iteration. We had new owners take over in March this year. The previous owners that many people will know from their selling or even from the Whamoi, which is a totally different subject, was Jason and Connie. We really coincided the new owners with the big changes happening up here in Auckland with the end of the floral hub. Just last week, we settled into our new permanent home. And so we are really working on developing our own floral hub now.
I saw the pictures of your new home. Everyone looked very happy to be in a new space.
We have spent 4 months operating out of a chiller container when the floral hub was disestablished. So the fact that we can swing a bunch of flowers around now in a beautiful chiller is absolutely lovely.
It's fantastic for you guys. So what kind of product do you buy direct from local growers?
We purchase a wide variety. It could be your regulars like your magnolia, your stock, your snaps, lilies, so your staple products, anything through to your specialty or niche items. We're known for being able to source those unicorn items through our network of smaller growers, which is why we're so passionate about it. There's always those little requests for a bunch of this or a bunch of that you might not see so often on the national market.
As you say, those unicorn items, yeah?
Yeah.
Pink sparkly unicorns. But what are the most popular flowers for your customers?
For us at the moment, it's always your staples, your roses, your lilies, your stock, gypsophila. One day, hopefully that trend will end.
When you say that right now you're focusing on those staples, is that because you and I are talking and it's winter, like it's -6 here at the moment? Or is that fairly standard flow through the whole year?
So that's pretty standard flow through the whole year. In winter, I like to source the specialty proteas or the leucospurnums, maybe some banksia. In summer, of course, it's usually about the weddings, so we'll be looking for specialty items in white or just a little bit of this or a little bit of that. Never quite know. At the moment, there's a huge demand for calla lilies.
Really?
Yes. They are very hard to get in the length and the colours that people want.
I was quite surprised to see a whole slew of wedding photos in late autumn that used white colours. Interesting to hear.
Very big trend in calla lilies as a bouquet overseas, which we're just starting to see trickle down now. I think a little bit of it is changing from the whole country garden whimsical. It's going very sort of structured.
And the florists are starting to look for that again.
Yes, but when one's looking for it, we can almost guarantee that there'll be another 15 or 20 more.
That's a good way of looking at it. Learn your trends by knowing what you sell, which is cool. So because a lot of our listeners are focused on selling their flowers, can you talk us through a little bit about the process of how a grower would sell to Fresh Cut? What's the best way to approach it? Do they talk to you to set up an account? Just you explain your process to us.
So the best way generally is to reach out, and to contact me, or to bring a sample in store. And we would look at it from there and potentially trial it out. And I would want to discuss volumes and availability. For us, unfortunately, unless it's a unicorn item, we struggle. 5 or 6 bunches doesn't really work for us. If we've got one and it's a popular item, we need 30 to 50 bunches.
That's great, because that follows on to my next question, that you can give that in the way of guidance and support to that person, but you need to have a consistent and relatively decent size or volume of flowers to make it worthwhile for you to be buying from a grower.
Yes. The other thing is that I think it's really important, if you're looking to sell and you've got a couple of hectares or an acre or whatever you're thinking of doing, is to really think in advance before you plant that crop. Where is it going to go? How do you expect to sell it? An example is someone contacted me and they had an acre of sunflowers to sell, which was really great, except they had already bloomed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't move an acre of sunflowers that have already bloomed, but if they had got in touch with me 3 weeks earlier, we would have been able to take the whole crop for them.
That's really interesting to know. And I suppose that comes back to that point that they need to be in contact with you well before they plant the crop, not as they're ready to sell it.
Yes, definitely. I'm certainly not an expert in growing and all the things that you need to be a farmer. From our end, I can certainly guide on timings, and the main thing is keeping in touch. We all know that it's manned by the weather a little bit and things are out of people's control. But if you come to me and say, I'm going to have 1,000 scabioses ready in the first week of December, I can plan for that. And as long as we're keeping in touch, if we get held up by the weather or something happens, we can mitigate that. Whereas if you come to me once it's nearly ready, we may have already picked up another grower. So while we try to be fair across the board, it's more about keeping in touch early and saying, hey, look, this is what we plan, this is what we'd like to do, how can we make it work?
So often there is quite a bit of discussion about quality control and grading of flowers. Do you consider it as the grower's job to grade and quality control the flowers, or do you think that is a job that is done by Fresh Cut?
I think it needs to be a little bit 50-50. It's really important that as a farmer you've tested the longevity of whatever the crop you're growing. You're consistent in your stem size. There is some things that I do know that will only grow sort of 20 or 30 centimetres, but you really want to be looking at 40 to 50 centimetres as an ideal stem length. Another centimetre or 2 on that for trimming for the florists, because that's really the ideal length that they start to work with. In terms of grading, it's about being realistic and being open to the feedback and knowing what other people are doing and what the sort of standard is.
That's great, because that leads to my next question. Do you have a booklet or a guide that you can put out to growers or help growers find that actually helps them to grade? Because I think it's the biggest fear, particularly newer growers, is not knowing whether what they are sending to a wholesaler or to auction is actually bunched to standard, looks to standard, picked to standard. They don't know that unless they are a trained florist. So does Fresh Cut have information like that that's available?
We don't have a booklet or anything like that, but I'm always happy to provide feedback. I don't think there really is any sort of set guideline. It's always been a bit murky, I think, between the florists and the growers. One thing I try to do is be really clear about what our expectations are and make it easy to understand.
And I think that's the most important thing, that the grower can understand what you as the seller are expecting. They need to talk to you to find out what it is that you want or need.
100%. If someone got in touch with me, I would guide them and they said they had a product. Sunflowers, we just take by the stem, so those don't need to be bunched together. Scabioses in 5 stem bunches. Some things like Sweet William, we'll take in a 10 stem bunch. So it's just a matter of getting in touch with us and saying, I have this, how do you present it to the market? And we can guide from there.
You said that growers should talk to you before they even plant their crop. Is that so that they can consider, or you can help them consider, what will actually sell?
Yes, I think so. At the moment, there's a little bit of less consideration about what everyone else is growing in the market. There's all these wonderful flower farmers and they're doing a great job, but everyone's growing the same thing, whether it's dahlias or zinnias or some florist seeds, and it's all flushing at the same time. That's instantly devaluing your product because we've got 50 growers that are all trying to sell the same thing at the same time. And you've all got to make a living.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
The reality is that when there's 50 growers and everyone's trying to shill their product as well as what is happening nationally, you're just not seeing the returns.
And you can't keep selling at a loss just to get yourself in the market.
Yeah, last year a perfect example was in December, there was hundreds upon hundreds of sunflowers coming through the national market and also with the growers. They weren't even getting 10 cents a stem.
Ouch.
Yeah, and they were just getting binned.
So for someone who's just starting out, Lizzie, is there anything that you think they should consider as an essential crop, something that you think you would always be able to sell? I know, again, I'm talking, that's probably dreams and unicorns as well, but what would be your advice if a grower came to you and said, what do you think I should sell to start with to see if I can grow flowers for wholesale?
I would suggest something that is going to produce more than one crop.
I love the way you're thinking, girl.
So, don't think short term. I understand and I have seen some talk around working out how much you need to make per square metre or per flower. I really believe that in the first couple of years, that's just not realistic. We understand that everyone wants to make a living, but when you're just starting out, it's about reputation and reliability and quality, and it takes a while for those to establish. So you wouldn't necessarily get the dollar value that you've placed on that stem in your first year. So make sure it's something that you could get maybe 1 or 2 harvests off, because you might see in your second or your third harvest that then it really is returning what you wanted it to return on that first harvest.
And it's paid for the growing. It's reduced the cost of the growing dramatically if you can get more than one cut. One cut wonders, as you say, are wonderful, but there's a limit to how useful they can actually be to your business unless you've got staff and massive volumes. It's a different world, isn't it?
As with anything that's getting started, it takes a while to build that momentum, and that's why I try and encourage things like proteas or some kind of foliage that, is going to provide that constant, ongoing supplement to those other things that are more short-term.
Agree with you 100%. I think foliage and shrubbery is totally underrated when flower farmers are planning their crops. And it's also, as you said, it's more than a one-cut wonder.
Yeah, and I think some really good examples that are really lacking in the New Zealand market: lilac, smokebush, blushing bride, standard carnations. There's 2 standard carnation growers in New Zealand that supply nationally. The things that, especially like your smokebush and your lilac and your cereria, and some of those grandicips, proteas, and some of those other specialty ones, you're getting the foliage off it as well as getting the flower, which is quite valuable because it just isn't available here.
And in addition, for some of them, like the smokebush, you've got the fresh flower and the dried flower, can be used at different stages and different things. But I do agree with you completely about foliage and flowering shrubs. I just think we should all be thinking about that first, because they take at least 5 years to become well established. So if you plan your whole plot around that kind of cycle, you can do your one-step wonders to get yourself started and to be able to fund your next load of shrubs and your perennials and everything. Think long term about what the market needs. And if the market needs foliage, it's just a lovely thing to be thinking about. Plan for your future, not just for right now.
And I do think that's really important. But also consider commercial versus garden. Those commercial grades are bred to last longer in the vases, to survive being cut and travel, all those kinds of important things.
Yeah.
Because they will affect really what you purchase rather than...
And your sale price too. If Fresh Cut is buying a variety from me that they recognise and they know has a good vase life, it immediately changes in your minds your acceptance of the crop and the grading of it, doesn't it? Because you know it's got a good vase life. Whereas if it's something you've never heard of, you're going on the grower's reputation or their word of mouth rather than actual fact. You know that this is a good seller and a good vase life.
Yeah. The other little thing about Fresh Cut is we're open to the public as well. So anybody can come into us and purchase from us. So while your product may necessarily go back into the florist's hands, it may also end up in just average Joe Blogg's hands. And so it's really important that it can survive someone who doesn't necessarily know all the tips and tricks of the trade and stand up to what it's going to do. I mean, a lot of our clients that are just public are a lot of DIY brides and things like that. And so they're coming for your scabioses and your Queen Anne's lace and all those other little things, but no understanding on the mechanics or what it needs to maintain its shape in a wedding bouquet or in an arch or something.
If a grower's got as far as having a good crop and they've talked to you and you think you can sell it, you're happy to receive it, can you help them get the product from the farm to your warehouse? Do you have contacts with a cool chain courier or freight company, or is that completely on the grower to organise?
So, interestingly enough, and most growers don't believe us, flowers ship really well around New Zealand. We don't put anything on full chain. Everything just goes through your general cartage for us. Things like your hydrangeas or your dahlias or your sweet peas, tulips, things like that in the summer, usually wet wrapped or suitably with a water source. But we will ship from Kaitaia to Invercargill overnight, and most things will bounce back really well with a drink. So we can help growers get it to us, but don't worry about it not being on a cool chain. But important with that goes how you treat it post-harvest. A lot of our growers that send from the South Island or from the Lower North Island up to us here in Auckland will make sure they treat their product really well. They'll harvest it in the morning or the night and then give it a full day to drink before it's sent to us. So it's really well hydrated before it makes the journey.
Excellent. That's really good advice. So we've talked about selling to Fresh Cut. If flower farmers or whoever is listening is wanting to buy from Fresh Cut, do you offer trade accounts or do you just have a wholesale warehouse? Is there a minimum order volume or a volume? How do you work that system?
If you're a flower grower and you're looking to top up for your own supply, we do offer trade accounts, which is really easy, just simple to set up. Obviously, outside of Auckland, we can ship overnight. Fortunately, we can't ship to rural locations just because the supply chain on getting it into the rural system is too complicated. So it's really easy, but if you're just looking for a one-off thing, you can get in touch with us and we can help you with that if there's an event or a special thing that you're looking for. So anyone can come and buy from us. There's no minimum spend. All pricing is tiered on volume, how many bunches of a product you buy.
That completely makes sense. So because many growers are very aware of sustainability and the environment, do you offer packaging which is eco-friendly, or do you have alternatives to packaging to help support that?
At this stage, with the new owners, we're just working through some of the eco-friendly and sustainable packaging and stuff, and that's something that we'll look to develop in the future. At the moment, unfortunately, that's something that we don't really have.
It is actually really hard to access. It's hard to get something which is effectively eco-friendly and still does the job that it needs to do. Even some of these compostable bags still aren't truly eco-friendly because they just break down into smaller microplastics in your compost. It's just not as easy as it sounds.
Also, because we're boxing up the flowers and we've got no control once the product leaves us, it can be quite difficult with moisture on the paper or on the plastic, and it getting hot or cold or condensating. So it's a little bit tricky. Unfortunately, we need a little bit of a mix of both to try and keep the flowers at their premium when they get to the end destination.
Which is your main focus, isn't it? You want premium flowers at their end location. That's your business. Now, you mentioned there you box the flowers up. I'm backtracking to someone is selling to you. Can they get boxes through you, or do you expect them to source their own boxes?
We can supply boxes, yes, and in a range of sizes.
Yeah. It'd be much easier if all flower boxes were the same size, though. From my point of view, storing boxes is a pain in the neck, so I'm sure it is for you as well. So you said that you are able to supply nationwide and you can ship overnight, but there's no other wholesale warehouse that people can go into apart from your Auckland warehouse. Is that correct?
Yes, so we're only based in Auckland.
Okay.
And people can come in store and purchase from us. You don't have to purchase online. We're always inviting people to come in and have a look. Now that we're in our permanent home, we're starting to expand to collaborate with some other people within the industry, and we're starting to have more plants and other things. We're hoping to collaborate with some other people within the industry to make it easy.
It sounds fantastic. What's the best time of the year for somebody to sort out their system for selling to you so that it's all set up pre them having flowers to sell? Should they be talking to you now?
They should be talking to me all year round. So currently this week, I am talking to growers about what will be available for Christmas week.
Wow.
I'm also currently talking with some rose growers about what will be available for Valentine's next year. Because of the growing cycles, I'm always looking ahead, always planning ahead. So there's never a right time, but probably the worst time would be Valentine's week, Mother's Day week, and Christmas week.
Yeah.
But the other 49 weeks of the year, not a problem.
I agree with you. Those weeks can be a little bit crazy, can't they? So you can tell me a secret here. Any new and exciting or interesting products coming online that you're excited to offer to buyers or wanting to buy from sellers?
I'm always looking for the unicorns. We're always trying to stay ahead of the trends. The most passionate thing I am is, of course, my garden roses. David Austin has released some new varieties, some new commercial grade varieties. So I'm really excited about those. But for me, because it changes all the time, I love getting out to the farm and seeing what people have got or what they're passionate, what their crop is, their passion. Everyone has their favourite.
I'll put a bit of a chip in there because I think that that's a really good point. It's just, if you're focused on growing, you stop looking at it from a floristry point of view unless you are doing the floristry as well. So always invite a florist or someone in Lissie's role to come and see your flower farm. It's well worth their time and your time.
For me, it's really important to build the relationship. I want to know why you're doing it and why you love it and what you're passionate about growing, whether it's you prefer the hardier crops or you're absolutely in love with dahlias and you have 5,000.
Yeah.
The thing is that people don't come to us and say, I want this specific dahlia. They will find a picture of one and we won't know the variety and I'm busy trying to find it. If I'm coming to visit you and you've got all these dahlias blooming, I can go, right, that's the exact one I'm looking for, or this can work. So
yeah, this is the right colour tone. Even if it's not the right variety, it's the right colour tone, and that's the visual impact you want it to have. Yeah, that's very cool. So have you noticed a change in demand from customers in recent years, whether that be volume or type, or obviously colour trends change, but volume and type or shape of flowers? Do you see those changing quite regularly?
Yes, we definitely see the changes quite regularly. We find it down here is a lot slower. So trends we were looking at maybe 18 months or 2 years ago that were really popular in America and Australia are just starting to filter down now here to New Zealand.
Okay.
Which is a shame, because if we had have known earlier, we probably would have chased some people to grow things like calla lilies or things that are really hard to get. But I think a lot of it in New Zealand is influenced by what we can grow here. We're at the bottom of the world.
You're the top of the world, not the bottom. Everyone else is at the bottom. We're at the top of the world.
We're not in places like England where they can have strawberries or something all year round, because it's coming in and it's so easy for it to come in. New Zealand and our florists are so good at working with what is just available and what is just growing here in season. And so we do amazing things. It's really good to see how flexible and how innovative our florists, even our growers, are with foliage or things that are just growing to make something really beautiful.
Love your passion. That's lovely to hear that you have such faith in the florists and the growers, because that makes it so much easier for the grower if they know that their flowers are going to be appreciated when they get to that end use. That's what makes you smile. You've grown something beautiful and they make somebody else smile.
Yes, and I'm always excited. Every week when I've got some regular growers shop, I'm always excited to get out of the office and see what's arriving. I love it. I love seeing it. It's absolutely, I've landed in the best spot I can, dealing with both the growers and the buyers and getting to play with all the product in between. One thing I would say is also think about longevity. So we had a real shortage of gypsophila in New Zealand for a really long time. There was only Van Lees growing it on a commercial scale. This summer, there was a lot of smaller growers growing gypsophila, which is really great to see, but the money dropped out of the market. Don't be disheartened and don't give up, because a lot of people go, oh, well, it was a really valuable crop and now it's not worth so much because everybody grew it. But everyone's going to stop growing it and then we'll go back to a shortage. So don't give up. Really try and stick with whatever you're doing for a couple of seasons, because it really does fluctuate up and down. And we've got one grower who grows the most amazing product, and it's only available for 2 weeks of the year. And they give us an indication of when it will be ready. And so the dates are a little bit flexible, but that is usually sold out a month in advance. We take everything they've got for those 2 weeks and that's it. And every year it's the same. We have it for 2 weeks and we have mountains and mountains of it, but it's gone.
Wow. I won't put you on the spot by asking you what it is, because that would be unfair, but I'm so curious now.
So if you can find something like that you're really great at growing, that you can grow an excellent crop, and it might only be available for a really short amount of time, but you can consistently grow it and supply it, maybe in the peak wedding season. So this was a product that's sort of middle to end of January. Do that, because it will just sell year after year after year, and you'll just find that we'll go, you can put in an extra 5 rows, but we're going to take those extra 5 rows. Don't worry about it, it's sold.
What a lovely way to start your planting, to know it's already sold. So are you finding that your buyers, whether it be the people coming in and buying from the floor or from your florist, are they asking for locally grown product, or to them it doesn't matter as long as it's a beautiful flower?
Everyone would love to go for locally grown product. It's potentially more environmentally friendly, there's less carbon miles on it, it's a New Zealand product, and usually we can identify the growers. I can say what region it's from, if that grower potentially has it in pink instead of white or orange or purple. So I've generally got the knowledge, which is really important for us to get to know the growers, so that I can share that knowledge with our florists as well. But there is just some things that, due to where we are in our sunshine hours, we can't grow as well, or we can't grow here.
Yep.
But there's always a drive to New Zealand first. And if I can get it here as a New Zealand product, we'll always go that way first.
That's so lovely to hear. What's one thing that you wish more growers knew before they contacted you?
More about pricing, I think, is really important. It's about your pricing structure. We pay fair here. We try to pay a really good average of between the top and the low end. And sometimes that can be really hard to hear, because I know that a lot of blood, sweat and tears have gone into producing that crop. But it's really important about being realistic, and for us to be able to get your product into these other hands of florists, because long term that's what's going to make your business
Succeed.
continue to thrive. When we go to sell a product and I'm getting asked 6 months or 8 months in advance, or even 2 months in advance, I can only average it on what we were selling it for or buying it for last year. We're at the mercy of the weather, and it only takes one weather event to absolutely change the landscape on availability. The other thing is that while it might have been really affordable last year, it might be a crop that people have decided they don't want to grow this year, so now it becomes a more expensive crop. And this is where I'm finding flower farmers are really important to us, because we're taking away being at the mercy of the national market. We're providing you a fair price. We're providing the florist a fair price. We're trying to keep it smooth and simple down the middle so that everybody can keep a roof over their heads and everyone can keep doing what they want to do.
And grow flowers so that you've got something to sell.
Yeah, but so that the supply's there, because unfortunately you never know what's going to come through national channels or even what the big growers are doing.
And that's really answered my next question, because I was going to say to you, what's your role in supporting the success of flower farmers? And it's developing those relationships so that they're growing the right thing so that you can sell it to the florist or in your market.
I know there's a lot of challenges for flower farmers around getting your flowers nationwide or getting it out to a wider audience than what may be your local area. We're trying to do that in the simplest way possible, but also in an affordable way, and try and take some of those risks out a little bit.
So it's your relationship with the flower farmers that create that cycle of your business thriving, the florist business thriving, and the flower farmer thriving. We're just going to wrap up with a few slightly more personal questions to finish off. What's your personal favourite flower or foliage? I've got a feeling you're going to say garden roses, but is that something that you would always put your hand up to say that's your favourite?
Absolutely. But also, I can't go past a champagne Lissianthus, a Lissie for a Lissie.
Yeah.
And they always start in November, which is my birthday month. Yeah. So always a smile, because I know my Lissies are going to be back. But yes, a garden rose, the traditional ones that our grandparents had, with the scent and the full cup, you can't beat them.
I have to agree with you. I love roses. I have a fair few David Austins, but I do also love Lissianthus. We can't get them in November, but we can get them in January. And to me, I just love them. You can't help but smile at them. They're probably my second favourite after the ranunculus. Even though we grow thousands of peonies, ranunculus and Lissianthus would be my favourites. Have you got a good story about dealing with flower farmers, something that's inspirational or funny or something that just tickled your fancy? You can say no.
I guess as a little bit of a story is going last year, I took some of our team out to some flower farmers and we did some tours. And it was really great for the team to see it go from being this tiny little plant in the ground to the end product that we got. It was really helpful for our packers and our pickers and everybody that's involved in our business to see how much love goes into producing that one stem that we now are sending to Queenstown or to Kaitaia. And seeing the passion and being able to go out there and make suggestions to the farmers and say, hey, I really need this season. Is there any chance you can grow it? And then it appears and it is the best unicorn I have ever found. Just amazes me.
It's always really interesting to get that feedback and to just get that flow of information going with whoever you're selling to, isn't it?
Yeah. For me, it's about being inspired by what the community around us is doing. I eat, sleep and breathe flowers. The transition from being a florist into wholesale, I miss being on the tools every day, but it hasn't diminished the fact that I am absolutely passionate about it. I'm constantly chasing down new ideas and new product and going to this grower, can you grow this for me? Can you try a crop of this for me? Can you find me some seeds? I want to have this.
That's
and
awesome.
So being able to expand on our grower base and supporting people. I'm a big supporter of the floral collectives and those hubs, getting those products out to people. Keep going, keep at it.
We better sign off, but you need to tell us first, where can people find your business and how can they get in touch?
So we're based in East Tamaki here in Auckland. You can find us, I want to say, because you're probably in the garden listening to this or driving, search us up on Google, Fresh Cut Flowers. We're on Google, we're on social media. From there, reach out to one of us or pop in store and we'll take care of you. We
Excellent.
will help you on your journey.
I will put links to your social media and your web address and everything in the show notes so people can find them there as well. And do have a look at Fresh Cut's Instagram page. It's got pictures of their new shop so that you'll be able to recognise it as you drive past. Any final advice for flower farmers or for florists?
Just do it because you love it. We're not here for the money. We're never going to be millionaires doing what we do. But it's the sheer joy in what we do and being in nature and all the beautiful things that we get to enjoy for that small moment that make it worth it.
Lissie, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I love your passion for the industry and for flowers, and I'm hoping that the shift to the new warehouse is everything that you could possibly want for it. May you find that unicorn that you have been searching for, or the grower that can grow it for you.
Thank you so much, Joe. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. Until next time, petals, smile, be happy, and if you like the way we're connecting all aspects of the flower farming community, please buy us a coffee using the link in the show notes. Buying us a coffee is a great way of saying thanks. Let's bloom together with flower farming in New Zealand.